Hi, my name is Myrna Tucker, and I work in Central Office Transportation Planning. Today, we're going to walk you through how to enter work zones and oversized overweight records into the new applications that you will start using next Monday. The applications that you're using today were written in antiquated software that's no longer supported. They were rewritten in modern software, and they function the same way, but they have a slightly different look. Deanne Weberg from the TMS Help Desk is going to lead today's training, but we also have IIS developers here if there are tech. This is our last training session before the new apps roll out this weekend. Feel free to stop and ask questions at any training. You can also raise your hand and unmute or type your question in the chat. We will be recording this training session in order to make it available later in Mo.U. We have scheduled 1 hour for the training. We have a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and get started, and I will turn it over to Deanne.
Thank you, Myrna. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
we can.
All right. As Myrna said, my name is Deanne Weberg, and I'm with the TMS Help Desk. You may notice that I am working in the TMS SIT environment for this training. That is just to ensure that no data I enter is going to mess with the production work zones that are actually out there currently. There's no reason for you to open this application on your desktop. You just follow along with me. It starts out the same way as the current application. From the TMS homepage, you choose Applications, Travel Information System, and Work Zone. Now, if you've used the Traffic Impact portion of TMS, this will look the same. If not, this is where it will be a little bit different for you. Let me make it bigger so you can see what's going on. To access the Work Zone OSOW and the Work Zone Inspection applications, you click the caret by internal. It'll bring down the drop downs for each option. We're going to start with Work Zone, and it will pull up the map for you to enter your work zone from. There are several ways to zoom in to this map. If you haven't done so already, you can hit Shift and draw a box, and that will zoom in. You can use the zoom in or zoom out options here. A little world with the magnifying glass will take you all the way out, or you can scroll in and out using your mouse, whichever is more comfortable for you. In order to select your work zone, you must zoom in to your travelway. Notice that the amount of travelway IDs that have popped up are due to the zoom level. So if you don't need this many options, you can zoom in closer and those will not appear. I'm going to select my travelway and click OK. And it will bring up my start and end logs based on my zoom level. If they don't need to go that far, you can select the end or the start and just move it, and it will change it for you. To enter the attributes to the work zone, you will come over to the right and click this Add Update icon, and it will bring you to the work zone details page where you can enter in all the information. Notice the banner up here shows the district, the county, the AADT, get an end log, reference files. Once we hit save, our work zone ID will show up. So until then, it will be blank. Everything with a red asterisk needs to be completed. For today, I'm going to choose an operation type of maintenance, a work type of chip seal overlay. Job number is not necessary, but if there is one already in the STIP, it will automatically pull up from that based on the work zone Zoom. The speed limit is only if the speed limit has been reduced during this work zone. So I'm just going to change it to 50 at this point. Level of impact, no delays, possible delays, or expect delays, or all lanes closed. I'm just going to choose it as expect delays. This number of lanes closed is the same as it currently is in the system. If you're affecting one lane or both lanes of the westbound or eastbound, you would just enter how many lanes are being impacted. Excuse me. Weekend is determining if work will be performed during the weekend, and I'm going to choose none for today. Org code automatically populates based on the user ID, so the person entering the work zone. That can be manually changed if need be. Start date. We're just going to choose today's date for training purposes. And the start time is a little bit different than what it is currently in the system. If you click on the box, it will automatically pull up that the work zone will start in the morning. If you decide that you do not want it to start in the morning, you can just hit the number and PMs, and it'll pull up the PM as well. If you want to scroll through, just highlight the hour and hit up and down, or scroll back and forth and change your time as well. But if it's easier just to hit the 3 and the P, it pops up for you automatically. End date, we're gonna end it next week. And the end time automatically is PM instead of AM. Again, you can change that time to 8 AM if you wish. Just hit 8 and A and it changes that for you. This create opposing work zone and create OSOW options are not necessary, but in this example, I'm going to click both of them to show you how they work. Again, the MoDOT user ID and phone number are determined by the individual entering the work zone. This company working information is based on the company that's actually performing the work zone, but for today, I'm going to hit this copy MoDOT information, and it brings in my contact info. Status is automatically determined by the system. You do have the option to change it to pending district approval if it needs to be approved by the district for any reason, but they usually will go in as active. The area engineer, resident engineer, and maintenance supervisor are automatically determined by the work zone area. If those need to be changed, they can be manually changed as well by hitting this drop down arrow. The lane details section is currently below all this information, but we have moved this to the right of the page in the new system. To update your lane details, we must hit this plus sign, and it will bring up the information needed. The number of lane is the same as it currently is, and we go from left to right. If you enter in a lane number here and then have to add another one by clicking this plus sign, you can only choose a lane once. So if I choose one on here and decide that I need to update another lane, one will be off the list. The type lane detail has changed due to federal highway regulations that they should be the same throughout each state. And that is also the same as the status as well. That has been changed. I have put in the new manual in the chat box, and you can find these new types and statuses on page 19 and 20 of that manual. If you get into this on Monday and have any questions, feel free to contact Dan Smith about these and he will be able to help you. I'm going to choose my type as lane today and my status as merge right. It just tells the users that I'm working in the left-hand lane and need to merge to the slow lane at that point. This additional information section is more commonly used by the communications department for the project name, news release URL, and project site URL. If anything is determined that it needs to be out on the MoDOT's external website, that will be entered in here. Comments pertaining to the work zone can be entered at the bottom of the page. You click the plus sign and you have options of work type, restricted approval, not approved, other, and external. The external comments are those that would be entered onto the traveler information map that may not automatically be generated by the system, such as work is going to be conducted 24 hours a day. Please seek alternate route is an option that you could enter here and that will show up. For today, I'm just going to choose other and type testing purposes. That way you can see what happens. The user ID automatically pops up based on who is entering the work zone. We have entered everything in, so we're going to click save.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Of course, it's being slow today. Sorry. Notice up here that the work zone ID, operation type, and work type has been added to our banner. That is due to the fact that we had hit save. Since we clicked the box at the beginning that said create OSOW, it automatically brought us to the OSOW tab. It filled in the start date, start time, end date, and end time for us. So that's less work we have to do. The system determined that there is a bridge located within our work zone, so that automatically populated the bridge number. What is new now in this system is barricades. If you need, there are no barricades, you would click no. If they're movable, we're just going to use movable for this. This OSOW restriction section, if the road is closed, notice that all of these restrictions are grayed out. Then nothing would have to be done at that time. If you click no, the road is still open, then one restriction must be entered. Otherwise, it will not save. So I'm just going to do a width restriction of 11 feet, 0 inches, just as an example. If we would have not chosen to have the OSOW created from the main screen, and we decided we needed it at a separate point, we could come over to the right and hit this copy data from work zone option, and it would bring in the information for us just like it did already. And if you need me to go through that on another example, I can do so. The MCS notes came over from our work zone details page that we have lane restrictions from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. starting today and ending next week. You can also enter any other information you think would need to be entered. Comments, enter them the same way as you would on the work zone details. You click the plus button, or the plus sign, sorry, and you have the option of miscellaneous or OSOW permit. And I'm just going to make up a permit number to show that it enters the ID and how it works. I'm going to click save, just in case something happens with training and things don't work properly. If you decide that the inspection, if there's an inspection on this work zone that needs to be entered, we would do that by clicking on the inspections tab. Again, to add the inspection, you click the plus sign. It will bring up the add inspection box. And I'm going to actually zoom out a little bit just to make this my save button appear. Again, the red asterisks are the fields that need to be entered. Since we are using Central District as our work zone, I'm just going to put Central District as our involved party. Use today's date. The weather is windy. Since I am the one doing the training today, I'm going to use my name as the inspector. And time, I'm going to say I'm going out at 4 p.m. today. The system automatically checks the danger sections with no, but I'm going to change this one to yes, that the work zone is properly reflected on the traveler information map. To expand the inspection conditions, you must click on the heading and it will open up that box for you. Again, to start anew, you must hit the add or the plus sign. Select a condition. I am going to choose all signs were present and in proper sequence. And yes, it did pass inspection. This review date, review time, and comments boxes do not have to be completed unless it did not pass. And I will show an example here. Again, click on the heading, plus sign. I'm going to choose the route, or the flagger has an escape route. And no, it automatically puts in my name as the inspector. We have to put in our date and our time. And I went out at 4. I'm just going to say in my comments that flagger does not have escape route. Doesn't have to be extremely elaborate, just enough to show why it did not pass the inspection. I'm going to do one more just to show what happens. Again, click the plus sign. Traffic flow did not stop or slow or stop unnecessarily, and I'm going to say that one passed. Once we have all of our conditions entered, we click save, and it will bring up our rating for that particular inspection. If we know that suspension dates are going to be a part of this work zone due to weather or contractor not being able to make it that day, we can enter the suspension dates by clicking the suspension dates tab, adding it by hitting the plus sign. It will bring up this add dates box. You click the drop down arrow, it will bring up your calendar for you. And we'll just say that they're not going to be working tomorrow, but they will be back to performing work on Monday. So it's going to put all 4 dates as our suspension dates. And you can enter those manually if you'd like, or you could do just like I did with the range. Even though the suspension dates were entered, the work zone will still show up on the traveler information map. This may be where you'd want to enter an external comment saying that construction will not be performed during normal hours from the 8th to the 11th, if that's what would need to happen. TMS has the option to add media in each of its applications. So we have added that to the Work Zone OSOW application as well. The options we have for media are photo, email, or other. And to add those to the Work Zone, you click the Media tab, click the Add button, and it will bring up our Add Media Tags box. I have a document on my computer called Media Test Document just for training purposes. So you would hit your browse, go out to the folder where your document is located, double click, and it will put it in this upload section. Add a brief description. I'm just going to put testing purposes. Media date. I am going to choose today's date, but this would be determined on whether it was an email or a document signed by a contractor or area engineer, etc. If it was dated last week, you would just choose last week's date and put it in there. But I will choose today's. Document type, photo, email, or other. Since this is a PDF file, I'm going to choose other at this time. You have the option to add additional tags, and you would do that by clicking this Add Additional Tags button, and it brings up bridge number, county, route, city, district, project number, structure ID, or DOT number, if that is pertinent to the document. I'm going to choose route just to show you that how it works. And I'm going to type in Interstate 70 and click Save. This document will now show up in our column here. Now, since the route is already part of our documentation, the extra route tag that I entered is not necessary. So to show you how to remove that, you could just click on the file name and click Update. And you would come down here to this section and just highlight that information, hit delete, and then hit save. And notice that my route tag was removed. If you want to view the document, highlight it and click view, and it will bring it up in a new screen for you. This view on map, the media will show where the work zone is located on the map. This link existing button will search for a document that is already in TMS. TMS has the ability to house all the media that has been added through each application. So if you know that there's an application out there, say maintenance agreement, that would have any documentation pertinent to this work zone, you can search for it here. I'm going to pull up everything for Callaway County. And notice that it's got, city, county, district, or route. I'm just going to do county for today and click apply as my filter. And it will bring up each document related to Callaway County. I'm going to choose this one just to show you how to add it. You highlight it and click select media item, and it will bring it up and put it in our column here. If we decide later we do not need the media file, just highlight it and click delete. It will ask, are you sure you want to delete the item? Click OK. It says it was removed successfully and then is no longer within our work zone details. Going to click save. Now, since we chose to create the opposing work zone at the beginning, I'm going to choose this opposing work zone button at the bottom, and it's going to bring us to our I-70 East work zone. It gave its own work zone ID. Operation type and work type is the same as our westbound. Notice that our AADT is a little bit different, but everything else should be roughly the same. The begin and end reference will change due to westbound and eastbound route. The required information came over from our original work zone. If we need to change a start date or start time or end date or end time, you can do that at this point on this screen. And the inspections, OSOW. The OSOW is already there due to we created it on the original work zone. But if we need inspections added for this one, we would do it the same way as we did our original. Suspension dates, we would add those the same way. And media would be the same as well. Since we have entered everything we need to on our work zone, I'm going to click the return to map, and that is going to bring us back to our original screen, and it will highlight the work zone area. The OSOW tab we entered the same way. You click down this caret on internal, it'll bring down your options. OSOW, bring up your map. It's going to zoom in to Route 50 here. Select a travel way, click OK. Again, the start and end logs can be moved by clicking and dragging it over. We would add the OSOW the same way as we do the work zone by clicking this Add Update. It will bring up the OSOW details page. Start date, I'm going to choose today. Start time, I'm going to say 2 p.m. End date, I will end it on Tuesday at 5 p.m. It noticed that there was a bridge involved in this OSOW, so it brought that information over for us. I'm going to choose no barricades at this time, but I'm going to close the road. So all of these restrictions are grayed out. My MCS notes, I'm just going to put 24-hour closure. These notes are not necessary, but in case motor carrier services do need those, that is beneficial to them. Comments, again, if we need to enter any comments, we would click this plus sign. It will bring down the miscellaneous or OSOW permit type. Again, I'm just going to give it a random number and click save. In order for the media tab to be available, we would have to save our OSOW details page. Again, to add the media would be the same way as we did with the work zone. Just click add and then search for your document. The banner is the same as the work zone details. It gives us the ID number, the route, the begin logs. To go back to show the OSOW on the map, you would just click return to map and it will highlight that for us. It is in red due to a closure of the road. If there was no closure, it would be purple, and that's just showing our restrictions. Work zone inspection. If this had collapsed, you would just click the caret and bring it back down and click the work zone inspection. It starts out with the map just like the other two applications. Into the travelway, select the travelway we wish to enter the inspection, click OK. We would go over to add update and it will pull up the inspections details page. Red asterisks are required. Well, I'm going to say it's a maintenance operation type, concrete overlay. And I'm going to say create the opposing work zone inspection. It is not needed, but in this example, it's just as simple as checking the box. Job number. Again, if there was a current job number in the STIP, it would pull up for you. Otherwise, you can automatically, or you can enter it manually. Any comments that are needed, just hit the plus sign to add them. Type, the only option we have is miscellaneous, and I'm just going to put in testing purposes. It works the same as it does on the OSOW and the work zone comment page. Notice that the inspections and the media tabs are grayed out. We have to click save in order for those to be available to us. To enter the inspections, it's the same way as the the work zone, sorry, work zone tab. That we would click the plus sign and enter in this information. I'm just going to show the required right now. And I have to zoom out so I can see my save button. And then since I did not enter any conditions, it did not give this inspection a rating. But in order to enter the conditions, it's the same way as the work zone details from the beginning. Opposing work zone inspection, the same thing. If you need to update any inspections or media, you would do that from there. Let's go back to work zone for a second. If you've noticed this work zone ID or travelway name box up in the left-hand corner, if you happen to know the work zone ID and you need to do any updates to it, just type in the work zone and click enter, and it will highlight that work zone for you. And you would just hit the add update button here, and it will bring you to the details page to make any changes. Again, if we want to zoom out, we'd hit this world plus to zoom in, the minus to zoom out, or you can scroll in and out with your mouse. If you notice the colors of the work zones, those are determined by the delays. So if there's expect delays, they are orange. Possible delays are yellow. And this one here is a future work zone with expect delays. The red ones are all closed. If we need to update a work zone, we can click on the icon and it will bring up the work zone ID and the travel ways around that particular work zone. The amount of travel ways and work zone options are determined by the zoom level. So if you would zoom in closer, you wouldn't have all of these, and you may only have one work zone. Just depends on your zoom level. Now, if you notice over here are icons. These map settings, you can click on that icon and add your emergency reference markers, any bridges, which will actually will show up if the closer you are zoomed in. You notice if I zoom out, they're not as highlighted. They're showing up today. And bodies of water. So you can add those if you need to. I'm going to uncheck those for the next option. TMS automatically sets your base map to roads, but you have the option of aerial view if you would need that. This quick zoom, if you know that you are wanting to do work within the city of Alba, just zoom into that city and it will bring up the city limits for you. If you don't know the city right offhand, but you know the county, you can do the same way by clicking the drop-down box under county and clicking that particular county. This inventory list will bring up a search criteria box. I'm just going to search for any work zones within the central district. So I just chose central from the drop-down box. I'm going to click search and it brings up all of those that are in the system currently. Now, notice I only have the options to add a new, open my ARAN viewer, or export to Excel. Once I click on a work zone, it will bring up these extra options here. If you would want to add a work zone, it will bring you to the map and you would add the same way as we did before. If you need to update a work zone, you highlight it, click update, and it will bring up the details page to make any changes that are necessary. To return to the list, we just click this return to list button. You can update the location. If you choose location, that it will bring up your LRS to make any adjustments to the begin and end logged with the LRS option. Or you can change the location on the map and that'll bring you to the map like the beginning, and you can change it that way. Every user in TMS has access to work zone, but they will only have the detail button here. It will shows everything pertinent to the work zone, but it is in gray, so they cannot make any changes. If you have a work zone that is similar to one that is currently out there and you don't want to save, if you want to save time, you can click that work zone, highlight the work zone, and then click copy, and it will bring up everything that is connected to that work zone, except for the start and end date and time. It will give you this message that nearby work zones could be a conflict. Click confirm, and then it will let you make any edits. I'm going to put my email address in here because we are now requiring contact information that was not currently in the system. And we would just change our start date and our start time and our end date and end time. And if we need to add any lane detail information, we would do that at this time as well. And that is just like I had explained earlier. And I'm going to click save. So I've created that work zone and it gave it its own ID number. We turn to the list. We can view the work zone on the map and it just zooms into that particular work zone. ARAN viewer, it will show the work zone on the ARAN viewer. That did that to me yesterday, and I'm not sure why. Let's export to Excel. If you hit this button, it will take all the information on your screen into an Excel spreadsheet and make it easier for you to sort if that is what you would like to do at that point. It is not necessary. This hourly volume will bring up the traffic volumes for that particular work zone area. We advise that before entering a work zone and choosing the start and end dates that you go out and check this hourly volume. That way you know for sure when the better times to set up and take down would be. This one actually doesn't show any crazy times a day, so anytime would work for this particular work zone. Notice that my approve button here is grayed out. Depending on the oh my goodness, I'm having a brain fart. Your security.
Level of authority.
Yes. Thank you. You may or may not have this option, but if you do, I will show you how to approve work zones. I find it easier to just choose it by status here on our search criteria. You hit the drop down box and choose pending district approval. Hit search, it will bring up any work zones that are still pending. Just highlight and hit approve, and it'll send it to the active list that we were just looking at. This hide menus here will hide anything on the left side to make your screen bigger. If you need that back on, you would just click show menus. The list for OSOW and the unreported work zone look exactly the same. Let me go back here and I'm going to choose Kansas City for this. Notice down here, we have 4 pages worth of items. TMS has the option to change your page size just by clicking this drop down arrow here. You can keep it at 10, choose 20, 50, 100, or 200, or you can have them select all. It will update your selection for that particular time in TMS. If you exit out, it will automatically send it back to 10. Please note that if the amount that you choose here changes the amount of scrolling that you have on the screen in the long run. From the TMS homepage, we can check our traveler information map to ensure that the work zones we just entered are showing up correctly. Please note that it does take about 5 minutes before they will show up. So if you enter it in and then go out and check it, don't be alarmed if it's not there quite yet. Notice here's our work zone we just entered, and it will bring up the automated message that TMS has given for this particular work zone. Any external comments that we would have made would be entered here as well. Now, if you need to go and check your OSOW map to make sure that the OSOW is showing, you would do so by clicking this links drop-down arrow and going to the OSOW map. The OSOWs will not show up on the map until the actual start date of that particular restriction. So I'm going to zoom in, and since I had entered this one today, it is showing up correctly. You can also choose any reports that you need to run from the TMS homepage. Click this TMS reports menu and sign in. Make this a little bigger for you. Go under Traveler Information Systems. And I'm just going to do the work zone lane closure summary report. And it will bring up all the lane closure work zones that are currently in the system. And I'm just going to run it for Central District, and it will pull up the information that I've asked for. See, we went in Callaway County. Oh man. Since it pulled up by Boone County first, I'm not going to scroll through all of those, but it will show my document on there. Here, I will go to Callaway County just to make it easier. Bear with me. This shows all the lane closures for Callaway County. And this is the one I just entered right here. So it may take a few pages to get to information you're looking for, but it should be out on the reports shortly after it is entered. Do we have any questions at this time?
Feel free to unmute or type your question in the chat, or go ahead, Gary.
Okay. I enter work zones for our inspectors, and I was looking at the screen where you enter the inspectors or the ID, and it would automatically pull in my ID, but I'd rather it pull in the inspector's ID and put it and get their phone number so that if there's any questions about that work zone, they talk to the inspector. They're the ones that's going to know what's going on, not me. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does. And I believe you have, it defaults to your ID, but you have the ability to change that. Can you show that, Deanne?
Yes, I will. I'm gonna go in here and update that. Let me zoom in for you. Ooh. So it shows that the user ID is Blake Stevens. You can go
Right.
in and update that to whoever it needs to be.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
if you
choose.
start typing, it'll narrow down the list based on the text that you're typing.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Okay, great.
Now, another question that's more involved, and I don't want to take up everybody's time. I can get with you later if you want, but it's got to do with closing down lanes on a highway that is undivided and 2 lanes each way with a center turn lane. Like I say, we can get together later if you want, but it's something I'm working on with our job here in the Joplin area.
Okay, if you don't mind, we can address that offline later.
Sure.
Okay.
No problems.
I did happen to think of something that I forgot to mention. So I'm going to go back to the map here. And I'm going to act like I'm starting a new one. We have the option of logbook and offset as well over here with our icons. Please note that you have to have an ID, a travelway ID selected in order for these to work. So if I want to do my logbook, I would click the logbook and start it. Zoom out again. And it would set my start there. And now if I want to end it here, I would set my end and then click close, and it updates my start and end. Then we can just hit our add update from here as well. The same with the offset, your travelway has to be selected. If I want to go 5 miles before my start, I would just type in 5 and click go, and notice that my start log moved. And I can exit out of there and then hit my add update as well. And then enter in my information like I did before. This red X, if you highlight a travelway and decide that you don't need that one, but you need somewhere else, you can just hit this red X and it will remove anything that you have selected. Do you have any questions over that? All right. I think that's all I have for you guys today, unless you need me to go over something else.
Okay, as I mentioned at the top of the meeting, the new application will go out this weekend. when you open up the Work Zone application on Monday, you'll see the new look. You don't have to worry about whether the work zones that you have as of 5 p.m. on Friday, whether they're going to show up in the new application. You don't have to do anything. Those will be there on Monday morning when you open up the app. And should you have any questions once you start using the new application, feel free to contact the TMS help.
Myrna, you cut out again. She's still with us? Or is it me? Can someone hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I
Okay.
don't know where she
I
went.
think we lost Myrna. There she
Oh.
is.
There she is.
Well, let me just cut in before she comes back. This is Carrie from IS. In the chat box, you'll see that I just attached a document that's that is called training attendance. We will be submitting your attendance to HR for credit for this training. However, if you are not logged into Teams right now, then your attendance will not be on my attendance list. So I'll need you to go out to this document and either enter your name in the correct column for today, or you can just email me and let me know your name and I will put it in the spreadsheet. If you are logged in today, you do not need to send me anything. Everybody's name has downloaded that is showing up in Teams. Myrna, did you come back?
Yes, thank you, Carrie. I've dropped off again. I'm not sure why, but I appreciate you picking that up. Again, if you have any questions once you start using the new system, just feel free to reach out to us and we're happy to help. Does anyone else have any closing comments before we dismiss training?
If you happen to know of a work zone that can be entered this weekend, please send it to Myrna or myself. That way we can test it when the new system is actually implemented Friday night instead of entering some bogus data and then having to delete it. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Okay, again, we appreciate everyone's time today and hope you found the class helpful. And if you have any issues next week, feel free to reach out. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks again. Good job, guys.